being a world traveler, you learn some things that are good and then some things that are perhaps not so good. On this particular day, I was going to the airport, Philadelphia airport, and I was checking in for my flight. I was going to go from Philadelphia to Hong Kong. And in Hong Kong, I was going to walk across the border into China, then take a train up to the children's village, the home that I was serving at. Bought a one-way ticket to Hong Kong, as I was going to be in China for an extended period of time. So I was going to Hong Kong on a one-way ticket. Well, I went to the Philadelphia airport and my father dropped me off, and I decided to go really early. 3 hours, actually, it's almost 4 hours early, and wanted to check in good amount of time and have a good restful time waiting for the airplane and not be stressed out. Well, I get to the check-in counter, and I was flying United. By the way, this is one of the first times and one of the last times I ever flew United. Waited in line, got up to the check-in counter and had my luggage, put the luggage on the scale, gave in the check-in counter. The lady gave her my passport. She took my passport. She started punching in some things in her computer, and I had my ticket information printed out, gave that to her, and she's there punching some things in her computer. And she said, okay, so you're flying one way to Hong Kong, right? I said, yep, it's right there on the ticket information, which flight I'm on. Look, it's pretty good. And it leaves, we've got plenty of time. Don't worry, take your time, whatever. She's there punching a bunch of things on her computer. Then she gets my passport, starts flipping through it, and says, well, actually, to fly to Hong Kong, which is China, you need to have, because you're flying one way, you need to have a China visa. And I said, well, actually, and then I told her, I said, well, actually, in Hong Kong, U.S. citizens get visa on arrival. And I said, in my passport, I've been to Hong Kong at least 3 or 4 different times. Actually, it's probably more like 4 or 5 different times. And I showed her the different visa on arrival stamps that they give U.S. citizens right at the airport. They stamp it in there, 90 days. You can stay in Hong Kong, 90 days. And she said, well, that's Hong Kong, but you're going to be going to China. And so since you're going to China, but the flight went to Hong Kong. I said, ma'am, the flight's going to Hong Kong. Hong Kong. I'm taking United up to Hong Kong, which rules are different than China. And she said, no, I'm sorry, you cannot go on this flight unless you have a return ticket. And I said, oh, okay, well, I did this at least 3 other times before this. And I said, well, I did this at least 3 other times. If you want, you can see all the visas and all the information. I've been on those flights. It's all in my passport. And I proceeded to show her the different passports, different visas that I have. And she said, well, you need a China visa. If you're going one way, you're going into China, you need a China visa. I said, all right. So I got my passport, flipped through the pages, got my China visa, and I showed it to her, and I said, this is my Chinese visa. Well, she took the passport, looked at it some more, and she said, well, I can't read that. That's in Chinese. And I said, yeah, what was your first clue? It's China visa, China. And actually right underneath the Chinese is the English translation. It says there in smaller letters than the Chinese, but it says Chinese visa. She said, well, no, you need to have a Chinese visa. I said, ma'am, this is a Chinese visa. No, I'm sorry, you can't fly today. And I was a little perplexed because I was going to go for a year of service, and now they're telling me I had everything all lined up. I said goodbyes to everybody, and I was all ready for my flight. Now they're telling me I can't fly. I was a little perplexed. I said, well, ma'am, can I speak to your manager? You have a supervisor that is over you. May I please speak to your supervisor? And she huffed around a little bit and said, okay. So she went and got her supervisor. Supervisor comes over and says, what seems to be the problem? And I said, well, the lady says I can't fly because I don't have a Chinese visa. And I said, but I do have a Chinese visa. It's right here in my passport. And I showed the supervisor my Chinese visa in the passport, which was current, up to date. And it even said in English letters, Chinese visa. And she looked at that and looked at that and looked at that and said, well, she's going to stick with what her colleague has been telling me. And sorry, you can't fly today unless you have a return ticket. Well, I did this at least 3 other times, and I never had a problem. And especially going to Hong Kong, you don't need a visa. It's visa on arrival for U.S. citizens. So I said, okay, well, what do you want me to do? What really do you want me to do? And they said, well, over there's a payphone. Go to the payphone and call the United number, and you could buy a return ticket. I said, okay. And so I walked out of the line and walked over to the payphone. And then I realized in my preparation to go to China, I got rid of all my small change, my small currencies, and I only had $50 and $100 bills in my wallet. Well, the payphone took quarters. So I went around, I was running around all the Philadelphia airport asking people, do you have a quarter? Do you have a quarter I can have? Please, would you please give me a quarter so I use this payphone? Well, I finally got enough quarters, put the quarters in the payphone, called the United number, and I talked to the guy, the salesman on the other side, and I said, sir, I'm here at the Philadelphia airport, and they're telling me I need a return ticket, and I have a China visa, but I'm going to Hong Kong, not China. Explained the whole situation. He kind of laughed and said, okay. And then I said, sir, but I must please make sure this ticket is 100% refundable, because as soon as I get off the airplane in Hong Kong, I'm going to call you and ask for a refund. And so, okay. So we went and he asked, what date do you want? I said, I don't know, just make it a random date because I'm going to return this. And said, okay, I'll make it 90 days out from today. So he did that. And he got me a 90-day ticket, and I gave him my credit card number, pretty much maxed out my credit card because I put all my credit card information, the limits low. Because traveling overseas, you never know if it's going to get stolen. So you want your credit limit low. So I did that, basically maxed out my credit card. And then finally got my ticket, the information, got the number. It took a long time, and I finally got that. I waited in line to check in, went to the check-in counter, went to the same lady I was at before, and I said, I have my return ticket. Would you please put me on that flight to Hong Kong? And I was happy because I thought, well, she's going to be happy. And she took the information. She started punching into her computer and started punching things in. I put my luggage up on the scale. She's there, and she said, I'm sorry, this is not going to work. And my confidence fell. And I said, well, what do you mean it's not going to work? And she said, well, your return ticket is 90 days from today. I can't let you fly unless your return ticket is within 60 days. And I said, well, you didn't tell me this before. And she said, yeah, you're not flying today until you have a return ticket within 60 days. And I said, but Hong Kong gives you a 90-day visa on arrival. It's free for U.S. citizens. And I showed her the stamps in my passport. I said, look, 90 days, 90 days, 90 days. Where does the 60 days come in? And she said, you're not flying today. I said, okay, well, let me try to get another return ticket. So I went back to the phone and had to go ask for more quarters. Excuse me, sir, do you have more quarters I can use? Excuse me, please give me more quarters, please. I finally got enough quarters. Put them in the payphone and called the United 800 number. And I told them, I said, hey, I just bought a ticket here, and tried to explain the situation as fast as I could, because now my 3.5 hours that I came early for the airplane is quickly disappearing, and I was in a little bit of a hurry or I was going to miss my flight to Hong Kong. So I was there and I said, okay, here's the situation. I need a ticket. Would you give it to me within 60 days? I don't care what for ticket you give me, because as soon as I get off the airplane in Hong Kong, I'm going to call you and ask for a refund. Refund that ticket. So you go ahead and make sure it's 100% refundable. The guy on the other end said, okay, and I put my credit card information, and my credit card was declined, and they said, you maxed out your balance. Now I had to look for more quarters so I could call my credit card company so I could get the credit limit extended, so I could call United so I could buy my second return ticket that I was never going to use, so that I could check into the flight from Philadelphia United to Hong Kong. Well, after all that, I finally got my second ticket, and I was feeling pretty happy, but I was also very annoyed. I walked up to the counter and I said, okay, here's my ticket. It's within 60 days. Would you please let me on the flight? And you know what? She did. She had no more reason to let me stay. And I realized, I looked at the clock and the flight is soon leaving. I had to run through that airport. I had to run to catch that airplane. And when I went through the security, I had to jump the line. I said, excuse me, I'm sorry, but I need to jump the line through security because there's a long line through security. I said, if I don't jump the line, I'm going to miss my flight to Hong Kong. Please let me jump the line. And the people at the security line, they said, please, yeah, sure, go ahead. It's your flight. Go, 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 go. And I did that, but the TSA officer, she saw me jump the line. So she pulled me aside and started to search my bags and search my luggage and asked me a whole bunch of questions. Why'd you jump the line, sir? By this time, I was almost in tears. And I said, well, I've had a bad day, and I came to the airport almost 4 hours early. And now I'm in a couple of minutes, the gate's going to be closed. And I said, if I don't get on that airplane, I will be very depressed. And the TSA officer said, well, I must search your luggage. Search all your luggage. I said, excuse me, ma'am, do you think I have a bomb? And as soon as I said that 4-letter B word, she looked at me and said, don't you dare use that word here in the airport. Don't you dare use that word. And she got angry, started yelling and pointing her finger at me, and don't you dare use that word. This is an airport. You never say that 4-letter B word in the airport. I said, ma'am, I'm sorry, but I really must go. And I got my luggage. I didn't wait for her to as she's still there yelling at me, I shut my luggage, I grabbed my luggage, and I turned and I ran. I didn't care if she's going to chase me, but one thing was certain, and that was I was going to be on that airplane to Hong Kong. And I grabbed my luggage and ran, and she's there yelling at me as I'm running away, and I was the last person. I just got to the gate just as they're closing it. And I made that flight. I ended up getting to Hong Kong and ended up walking across the border into China and using my Chinese visa, which works in China, doesn't work in the US. And I get there, I get to the children's home, and one of the first things I did was I called that United number, and I said, excuse me, but I have 2 tickets I'd like to get refunded. Explained the situation, and oh, okay, we're going to work on that. But now I found out those 2 tickets I bought were non-refundable. They were not going to give me my money back. And I said, but when I bought these tickets, I said I need 100% refundable tickets. Why are you telling me that I can't refund them? And they said, well, sir, these are not refundable tickets. We don't, with United, we don't give refundable tickets. I don't know what the deal was. And I said, but these tickets are refundable. And I explained the situation there at Philadelphia. They made me buy these tickets when I didn't need them. And I want you to refund them. Well, I ended up calling back numerous times, and it took over a week. I ended up calling so many times that I got to know different individuals that were working there at United's office call center. So when they would pick up the phone, I would call them by their first name. Hey, hello, Tina. Oh, yeah. Hey, I'm still waiting for my refund. Would you please refund the tickets? Well, I was getting absolutely nowhere, and it was costing me a fortune calling from China to an overseas number. It was costing me a lot of money. So I decided, okay, well, there's something else I need to do here. So I made up a nice little email. I put all the information in there, put my China, a copy of my passport, a copy of my Chinese visa. I wrote up a nice little story, and then I emailed it to the United office, the customer service line. Well, a day went by, 2 days, 3 days, no response. So I emailed it again. Still time went by, still no response. So then I set it up that every 5 minutes I was going to send an email. My computer automatically sent the same email every 5 minutes to the United office. And within a few hours, I had my money back. I had two $250 gift certificates for United Airways, and I had a letter from the head of customer service greatly apologizing for what happened. Well, all that to say is, never give up. If it's what you want and it's what you should be doing, never give up. God bless.